Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Countdown begins for announcement of India's general election 2024 results. Preparations are in full swing for the counting of votes on June 4th. Exit polls predict big win for the ruling BJP-led National Democratic Alliance, also expected to gain more seats in southern states of India. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says no Gaza ceasefire until Israel's conflict aims are achieved, raising questions over Joe Biden peace proposal. Mexicans will vote to pick their next president in a historic race that could see a woman take the top job for the first time. And Real Madrid clinch a record-extending 15th Champions League title as Dani Carvajal and Vinicius Jr. strike late in a 2-0 win over Borussia Dortmund at the Wembley Stadium. Alright, first up, let's get to the latest on the world's largest election in India. Now, the voting for general election 2024 concluded on June 1st, bringing an end to the last event of democracy. Voting for 543 constituency seats was conducted across 7-phase elections over the past 50 days. Election Commission of India all geared up for the result day now scheduled for June 4th. All steps have been taken to ensure a transparent and secure counting process. Counting would kick off at 8 a.m. Indian Standard Time on the 4th June. And the Election Commission of India on Saturday issued handbook to poll officials ahead of the counting of votes of recently held general elections. The counting of votes for the general election and the state legislative assemblies of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha and by-elections to assembly constituencies shall be held on June 4th starting at 8 a.m. Chief Election Commission Rajiv Kumar along with Election Commissioners Ganesh Kumar and Sukhbir Singh Sandhu had reviewed the counting day preparations with all Chief Electoral Officers and Returning Officers. The counting trends and results as per data entered by ROARO for assembly constituencies and parliamentary constituencies will be available on the ECI website as well as on the Voter Helpline app, both iOS and Android mobile applications. The Voter Helpline app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or Apple Play Store. The poll body has also issued a handbook for returning officers and counting agents available on the ECI website. Alright, let's go across to Varanasi. DD India's Deepika Meheto is joining us live. Good morning, Deepika. We saw 7th phase of election culminating yesterday on Saturday, and we saw a fair voter percentage too. And now all set for the counting on 4th, preparations in full swing?
Good morning, Abhishek. Yes, the preparations are in full swing. We were just conversing with the Election Commission of Varanasi, and now they say that the team who would be taking the counting process are undergoing a final stage today, and there are around 9 rooms which have been set up in Varanasi where the counting will take place. Out of 9 rooms, 8 are the assembly rooms where the assembly sides will be counted, and the 9th room belongs to the controlling officer. So whatever counting comes from the 8 rooms will go to the 9th 6th room, and the cross verification of that will take place in the 9th room. And for that, a security arrangement has been made where two types of security has been laid down: the internal security and the external security. Both the securities will frisk first the counters who will sit on the counting day, so that they don't have any sort of electronic device, they don't have any sort of indication that indicates some sort of biasness, so that frisking will be taking place. And not only this, from where the counting officers would be moving to the place where they would be sitting, they all will be on continuous CCTV surveillance by the Election Commission of India. So this is a very tight security that has been planned around the counting day, and today they will be undergoing the final phase of their training session, and after that the counting will begin on the 4th of June from 8 a.m. onwards. So this is so far how the counting will take place. And if we talk about the elections in Varanasi, we witnessed somewhere around 56% voter turnout. Earlier in 2019 it was 59% voter turnout. But right now, considering the hot and humid conditions in Varanasi, this was a very fair voter turnout, and also considering the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself urged all the voters time and again. He released a video message 2 days before the polling. On the day of polling, he released a tweet urging in different multiple languages, urging all the citizens of Varanasi and everybody who's going to the polls in the last and final phase to go out and vote in large numbers and create yet another record. Now, how this record will affect on BJP's leadership, that will be seen on the 4th of June.
Deepika, also Varanasi is hotly contested seat, and I mean, we all know that it holds immense significance and considered a stronghold of Prime Minister Narendra Modi since 2014. Tell us, what are the sentiments? You must be talking to the voters. Exit polls predict big win for the NDA.
If you look at the exit polls, because we've been talking with the people of Varanasi since past 10 to 12 days, and they say that they want to vote this time more enthusiastically because they've seen a lot of development. So if we talk about the votes, the vote share has gone on the ground of development and not in the name of any party. Development is what they see and what they want to vote for. And if we talk about other things like exit poll, the exit poll also showcases a similar sort of result, which means a clean sweep once again, creating a hat-trick for Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Varanasi particularly. So if we go by the exit polls clearly suggest that once again Ajay Rai is going to face a very disheartening defeat from Varanasi. He's been trying his luck from here since 2019. Earlier he was a BJP member, then he switched to Congress. He's been trying his luck, but now again a clear defeat for Ajay Rai for the third time and a hat-trick for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is what the exit poll suggests, and also we talked to the people and they are really happy with the sort of development they've witnessed across Varanasi, Abhishek.
So you think, I mean, like you're saying, it will be a clean sweep for the BJP again, and tell us about the voters also. What do they want from the government?
If we talk about the issues, Abhishek, what issues they have in mind. See, first of all, they were really happy with the development that has taken place, right from Assi Ghat to first CNG petrol pump, the floating petrol pump that Varanasi has got. And there is also an international cricket stadium which is in the pipeline. Apart from that, a very fine class museum the Varanasi people has got, which is of international standards. And a ropeway, Kashi ropeway is also underway. So development is 360 degrees spread across Varanasi. But if we talk about the issues, there are certain issues which is like inflation, job employment, opportunities, female securities. These are some of the issues which people are looking at. So they've gone to the vote yesterday. Now let's see what happens on the 4th of June, whether the issues will win or the development will take forward the result of the NDA government.
All right, Deepika, we'll leave it there for the time being, but yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. And after a marathon general election 2024 spread over 6 weeks, the second longest general election since 1951-52, it's time for exit polls. A big win for the ruling BJP-led NDA has been predicted by 6 exit polls. Republic Bharat P Mark 359, India News D Dynamics, it shows 371 seats for the National Democratic Alliance, which is NDA. Republic Bharat Mathris show 353 to 368 seats, and Dainik Bhaskar predicts 281 to 350 seats for the NDA. Remember, these are the pool of exit polls, And we are showing you the poll of exit polls predicts the NDA victory. News Nation has 342 to 378 seats and Jan Ki Baat 362 to 392 seats for the NDA. On the other hand, the opposition Indi bloc is predicted to wait another 5 years as per Republic Bharat P. Mark exit poll predicts 154 seats will go to the Indi bloc. Republic Bharat Matri's 118 to 133 seats. Jan Ki Baat 141 to 161 seats and India News D Dynamics 125 seats. News Nation predicts 153 to 169 seats, somewhere between these figures, and Dainik Bhaskar somewhere between 145 to 201 seats for the Indi bloc. And the counting of votes for the assembly elections in Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim is underway. In Arunachal Pradesh, early trends show BJP has crossed the halfway mark now with 10 wins and leads on 32 seats. The BJP's ally, Conrad Sangma's National People's Party, is leading in 9. The Congress is leading in 1. In Sikkim, incumbent Sikkim Krantikari Morcha has crossed the halfway mark in early trends and is leading in 31 out of 32 seats. The opposition Sikkim Democratic Front is leading in 1 seat. Earlier, the counting of votes in these two states was to be held on June 4th. The dates were later revised because the term of their legislative assemblies ends on June 2nd. An Election Commission of India has provided central forces to prevent any post-poll violence based on assessment provided by the states and central observers. Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal have been provided with security forces for 15 days after counting days. Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh have been provided security forces till 2 days after the counting day. Alright, we'll slip into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Devastating floods leave 2 lakh people affected across 9 districts of Assam. Pune police form over 12 teams to investigate Porsche accident case. And gates of Valley of Flowers open for tourists in Uttarakhand.
The marriage between tech and tradition is what farmers need across the globe. Tech shows us ways to deal with new challenges in a world, while traditional knowledge and varieties show us how to withstand these challenges.
Some people in society look negatively at a woman if she steps outside of her home.
Do you know 700 different crop problems on 30 different crops? Diagnostic, that's tough for a human to do.
Big food manufacturers are getting like the biggest share. Farmers and farm workers, which are like in the bottom of this value chain.
When a volcanic eruption injects ash, dust and gases into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere, they form sulfate aerosols, which the Earth's rotation helps spread around the globe.
Swagato to West Bengal, India's cultural epicenter. West Bengal invites you to share its richness, to be united as one family with one shared vision of building a better tomorrow.
After a grueling campaign, after exhausting polling spanning 7 phases, the stage is set for the counting day. the grand finale of the largest electoral exercise ever. DD India is all decked up and ready. Counting of votes for India's general elections. Accurate and fast results. In-depth analysis with experts and reporters everywhere. Only on DD India, 4th June, 6 a.m. onwards.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. New Delhi is all set to get respite as its weather department has predicted light intensity rain or drizzle. A cloudy day and gusty wind in the evening brought some respite on Saturday as well, though the prevailing heat wave conditions are likely to abate gradually over the next 2 days and the maximum temperature may settle below 45 degrees Celsius. The heat wave conditions in the city are expected to reduce in the coming days. The India's Weather Department also issued an alert for heavy rainfall at isolated places over north and south coastal Andhra Pradesh, Rayalaseema and Yanam in southern India for 5 days. Talking about Assam, the death toll there in floods increased to 15 after 3 or more persons lost their lives in calamity as the number of affected population went up to over 6 lakh. 3 major rivers, Kopili, Barak and Kushiara were flowing over the danger level. Among the other severely hit districts are Hojai and Kachar. More than 41,000 displaced people have taken shelter in 187 relief camps set up in various districts. NDRF, SDRF, local admin and people were engaged in carrying out rescue and relief operations. Road and rail communication in several parts of the state remained disrupted following incessant rain in the aftermath of Cyclone Remal. All right, let's go across to Guwahati. DD India Subina Roy is joining us live. Subina, tell us the situation currently there. What is the forecast also? Rescue and relief operation is continuing. Is it underway?
Yes, Abhishek, after the aftermath of Cyclone Remal has caused a havoc of incessant rains in the northeast that has been happening for the past few days. And especially the effect is over the southern part of the northeast and the southern part of Assam and the Kopili River majorly, which has been affected. It is the largest south bank tributary of Brahmaputra and flows through Hailakandi, Nagaon, and these are the districts that have been affected. So if we talk about the districts that have been affected in Assam, they are Hailakandi, Hojai, Morigaon, Karimganj, Nagaon, Kachar, so Karbi Anglong, Dhima Hasao. So these areas are also very ecologically very fragile. So landslides have been occurring where people have been affected. The roads have been destroyed. The National Highway 6, which connects Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, the portion of the road has been destroyed. And the rescue the NHAI is on its way to prepare the roads again. And if you talk about the death toll over, 15 people have died till now in Assam. And the rescue operations are on. The SDRF and the NDRF teams are continuously working day and night to provide medicines and the necessary items, food items, rice, food, sugar, baby food items to the affected people. Looking at the data, if we talk about the data, the population and the crop affected majorly is in Nagaon, Hojai and Kachar. And if we talk about relief camps, around 107 relief camps have been set up in Kachar. And then in Hojai, 21 relief camps. In Karimganj, there is around 22 relief camps. And there are over 19,000 people, inmates are living in the relief camps in Kachar, over then 11,000 people in Hojai, and around 4,000 people in Nagaon. And if we talk about the villages, the maximum number of villages have been affected in the Kachar district, then followed by Karimganj and then Nagaon. Though the severe heavy flooding has been caused by in the aftermath of the cyclone Remal, and this is because of the heavy flooding of the Kopili River. Now, the NHAI will be constructing the road from Nili to Silchar that has damaged the RCC bridge over the Kopili River has been damaged, and NHAI will be preparing that bridge again. And if we talk about the water level, so there are three major breaches that have happened in Rajesh Kupar, then 6, Sudarshanpur and Nimalchipur. And if we talk about the whole of the northeast, the flash floods that have been and the landslides that have been occurring, so around 40 people have lost their lives in the whole of the northeast in the aftermath of these flash floods and heavy rains. And the rains are yet to occur for the next few days. The National Frontier Railways has cancelled the passenger trains, express trains that's going to South Assam, Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur. And the NH6 that connects Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram has collapsed after a landslide. In Manipur also, the capital city of Imphal has been entirely flooded by rain waters, and the river Nambul has been affected majorly in Manipur. 3 people have died till now in Manipur. If we talk about Mizoram, around 27 people have lost their lives and 167 villages are affected.
Subina, also, I mean, NDRF, SDRF, they are continuously helping people doing the rescue operation, but rescue operation gets challenging when the weather is not favorable and the weather is not in favor. Are they also facing similar challenges?
Right, NDRF and SDRF, their job is such, they have to brave the natural calamities to offer help to the needy and the affected people. So, they go in the boats and just braving their lives to save these people, little babies. You could see that recently the Assam Chief Minister had posted pictures of SDRF team, rescuing babies from flooded areas. So it was really heartening to see the teamwork that has been going on incessantly to rescue the people from flood-affected areas.
All right, Subina, we'll leave it at that, but we'll keep taking updates from you. Keep tracking this story. And in a tragic incident, at least 7 members of a family, including 5 children, drowned after a boat they were travelling in capsized in central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. The incident occurred on Saturday in Shiopur when a boat carrying 10 people capsized in Seep River, a tributary of the Chambal River. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh expressed grief over the loss of lives and wished speedy recovery for the injured. And the South Indian state of Telangana is marking its formation day today. The state came into being on 2nd June 2014. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, sent greetings to the people of Telangana with a statement on X. She highlighted the state's rich heritage and prayed for lasting prosperity. Now, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar also extended greetings to the people of Telangana and wished for continued prosperity and new heights of development. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also took to X to wish the people of Telangana. He said that every Indian takes great pride in the state's contribution to national progress and that the government remains committed towards their development. Now, southern Indian state Tamil Nadu's Forest Department has installed overhead foggers at the Trichy M.R. Palayam Elephant Rehabilitation Centre to provide relief to the elephants from the scorching heat. The foggers reduce the temperature by 3 to 5 degrees Celsius compared to the external atmosphere, which help provide much needed relief from the heat. Dietary adjustments have also been made for the elephants to help them stay hydrated and nourished. All right, news coming in. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold meeting to review post-cyclone situation, especially in the states of Northeast. The Prime Minister will later hold a meeting to review the heat wave situation in the country. He will also hold a meeting to review the preparations to celebrate World Environment Day at a large scale. PM Modi will also hold a long brainstorming session to review the agenda for 100-day program. All right, so Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold review meetings and the current situation, the heat wave situation in the country. He will also hold meeting to review post-cyclone situation, especially in the states of Northeast, and also he will hold a meeting, like we said, to review the heat wave situation in the country, especially in the North India, in the northern region. He will also hold a meeting to review the preparation to celebrate the World Environment Day at a grand scale, at a very large scale, and also hold a long brainstorming session to review the agenda for a 100-day program. All right, now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Police have formed over 12 teams to probe multiple aspects of the Pune Porsche accident, which allegedly involved a minor driver. The accident killed 2 people. Police have registered 3 separate cases. So far, the minor boy's father, grandfather and mother have been arrested. In Delhi's water woes continues as the capital faces a severe water crisis amidst an acute heat wave with temperatures soaring above 50 degrees Celsius. Water is supplied through water tankers and residents are enduring long waits. Offline registrations for Char Dham, a Hindu pilgrimage circuit in North Indian state of Uttarakhand, began on Friday. Crowd of devotees gathered in registration offices in Haridwar as they prepare for the pilgrimage, which includes 4 sacred sites. And the gates of Valley of Flowers, a World Heritage Site declared by UNESCO in the North Indian state of Uttarakhand, opened for tourists on Saturday. The first batch of 48 tourists was flagged off from Gangharia base camp for the valley. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. China lands uncrewed spacecraft on far side of the moon. South Africa's African National Congress Party facing coalition election commission to announce full results today. And Boeing Starliner capsule's first crew test flight postponed at the last minute.
The marriage between tech and tradition is what farmers need across the globe. Tech shows us ways to deal with new challenges in a world, while traditional knowledge and varieties show us how to withstand these challenges.
Some people in society look negatively at a woman if she steps outside of her home.
Do you know 700 different crop problems on 30 different crops? Diagnostic, that's tough for a human to do.
Big food manufacturers are getting like the biggest share. Farmers and farm workers, which are like in the bottom of this value chain.
When a volcanic eruption injects ash, dust and gases into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere, they form sulfate aerosols, which the Earth's rotation helps spread around the globe.
The gateway to Northeast India welcomes you to the land of untouched natural beauty and diverse history.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we have done so far. Countdown begins for announcement of India's general election 2024 results. Preparations are in full swing for the counting of votes on June 4th. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says no Gaza ceasefire until Israel's conflict aims are achieved, raising questions over Biden peace proposal. Mexicans will vote to pick their next president in a historic race that could see a woman take the top job for the first time. Real Madrid clinch a record extending 15th Champions League title as Dani Carvajal and Vinicius Jr. strike late in a 2-0 win over Borussia Dortmund at Wembley Stadium. Updates on Israel-Hamas conflict now. Gaza conflict mediators on Saturday urged Israel and Hamas to finalize a ceasefire and hosted release deal. Mediators from Qatar, Egypt and the United States called on both Hamas and Israel to conclude an agreement that embodies the principles outlined by the US President. The three countries in a joint statement said that these principles bring together the demands of all parties in a deal that serves multiple interests and would bring immediate relief to people in Gaza and to the hostages and their families. The statement further read, "This agreement provides a roadmap for a permanent ceasefire and ending the crisis." Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday reiterated that the conditions to end the conflict with Hamas have not changed. In a post on social media site X, Israeli PM's office said, and I quote, "Israel's conditions for ending the war have not changed. The destruction of Hamas military and governing capabilities, the freeing of all hostages and ensuring that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel. Under the proposal, Israel will continue to insist these conditions are met before a permanent ceasefire is put in place. The notion that Israel will agree to a permanent ceasefire before these conditions are fulfilled is a non-starter," unquote. And two members of Israeli coalition government has threatened to withdraw if PM Netanyahu went ahead with a deal that ended the war without destroying Hamas. Israel's far-right ministers Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have told Israeli Prime Minister they will leave his coalition and topple the government if he accepts US President Biden's ceasefire proposal. Ben-Gvir, in a post on social media site X, termed the deal as promiscuous deal, which is a victory for terrorism and a security danger to the state of Israel. He added, agreeing to such a deal is not the absolute victory, but the absolute defeat. He threatened if the Prime Minister implements the promiscuous deal, his Otzma Yehudit party will dissolve the government. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich also demanded on Saturday that the Gaza offensive be pursued until Hamas is destroyed and all hostages held by the Hamas terrorists are rescued, saying he would not stay in government otherwise. And thousands of Israelis have again taken to the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday, putting pressure on the government and Prime Minister Netanyahu to strike a deal with Hamas that will see the release of Israeli captives held in Gaza. A large banner was carried by some members of the crowd, pleading with US President Joe Biden to save the captives by exerting pressure on Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire deal. Among those in the rally was Avi Ofer, who has been on hunger strike for 28 days. These protests have been occurring every weekend for months, with demonstrators also calling for early elections. And China's defense chief Dong Jun warned that prospects of a peaceful reunification of Taiwan were being eroded and promised to ensure the island would never gain independence. In fact, he was addressing the Shangri-La Dialogue Conference on Sunday. China views democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory, with the strong objections of the government in Taipei, and last month staged war games around the island in anger at the May 20th inauguration of President Lai Ching-te, who Beijing calls a separatist. Dong said Taiwan was the core of core issues for China, but Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party is incrementally pursuing separatism and bent on erasing Chinese identity. He accused foreign powers of interfering in domestic issues and emboldening Taiwan's separatists. Dong called the arms sales a test of China's red lines. Now, South Korea on Sunday said the North Korea sent some 600 balloons carrying trash into the region overnight. The balloons carrying garbage like cigarette butts, cloth, paper waste and plastic were found across the capital Seoul. The military is conducting aerial reconnaissance to track down and collect the balloons. Emergency alerts were issued in North Gyeongsang and Gangwon provinces and some parts of Seoul. Earlier on Wednesday, North Korea had sent hundreds of balloons carrying trash and excrement across the heavily fortified border, calling it gifts of sincerity. Meanwhile, South Korea's Defense Minister Shin Won-sik and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Sunday reaffirmed a coordinated response to any North Korean threats and provocations based on the South Korea-U.S. alliance's combined defense position. The two leaders condemned a series of missile provocations by North Korea as they met on the sidelines of Shangri-La Security Dialogue in Singapore. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Sunday. Ukraine's Defense Minister Rustem Umerov was also at the meeting. Officials said Zelensky and Austin are expected to discuss the current battlefield situation in Ukraine, and Austin will underscore U.S. commitment to ensure Ukraine has what it needs to defend itself against ongoing Russian aggression. Zelensky is also scheduled to speak at the Security Summit's final discussion session on Sunday on reimagining solutions for global peace and regional stability. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky met Michael McCall, the Republican chairman of House Foreign Affairs Committee, on Saturday on the sidelines of the Shangri-La Dialogue Defense Conference. The meeting covered the frontline situation and military assistance, particularly additional systems and missiles to strengthen our air defense. Zelensky said they paid special attention to increasing sanctions against Russia.
First of all, we want to thank United States Congress, bipartisan support. Thank you so much for the very important decisions which been done in Congress of the United States. Thanks to Senate and to Congress, been really a very important package of support. So thank you so much for all of us. And of course, now the parts of this package on the way to Ukraine, and of course it will help to strengthening our army on the battlefield.
If we give you the right weapons, you can win this thing. And you have the toughest team, soldiers, commanders, on the ground. I have fought this administration hard to get the weapons in as fast as we can. I wrote ATACMS into the supplemental because you need ATACMS. Now I'm hearing Crimea. Now, the last thing, the Russians are right on the other side of the border in Kharkiv.
Yeah.
You can't have one hand tied behind your back.
Now, South Africa's Election Commission will announce the final results of the country's general election on Sunday. The ruling African National Congress Party is expected to form a coalition government after the party lost its 30-year majority. As of Saturday, the party had received 40.19% of votes according to results from 99.87% of polling stations. A coalition government marks an unprecedented prospect for the ruling ANC, which ends 3 decades of its dominance since it freed the country from apartheid. All right, DD India's Jessica Taneja has more information on this. She is joining us live from New Delhi. Jessica, counting is almost complete. African National Congress loses majority in a historic election ending 30-year dominance. South Africa on a new political path?
Well, certainly it does look like it's on a new political path, and one that will require intense discussions on how to reach a coalition. If you look at the numbers we've seen from last night that have emerged from the Election Commission of South Africa, you've noticed that the ANC, as you pointed out, is at roughly 40%. It's down from 58% of the vote it received in the last election. And this perhaps is the worst that the ANC has seen in the last 30 years. It had never expected to go below 45%, but here they are at 40%. Cyril Ramaphosa, the former president, now finding it difficult to find to have coalition partners who would sort of settle on a particular point or the set of policies that he set out to have targeted, especially his black empowerment policy, which is the new National Insurance Health Bill for the inclusion of black people and many other policies that ensure the empowerment of black, as promised by the African National Congress in the last 30 years, when Nelson Mandela was at the helm of affairs and history was created in the country. But given the current dynamics, if you see, Abhishek, you're left with the DA, which got 22% of the vote, and the MK party, led by Jacob Zuma, another faction taken away from the ANC, formed in September last year. So the only possible coalition that does look like that could possibly go ahead would certainly require a lot of compromises, because at this point, if you see, the DA or the Democratic Alliance, the centre-right party, has outrightly refused, if not so, to work and form a coalition with the ANC. Now, the ANC is left with the MK party, which has received 15% of the vote, which is led by Jacob Zuma. And given the political dynamics there, it is unlikely that the two would form a coalition because of Jacob Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa. That is an impossible deal to happen. But since the country is headed towards a coalition chaos, one will have to wait and see on how the arithmetic works out. And finally, do we have a different sort of politics now emerging out of South Africa, which is not led or dictated by the ideas of ANC anymore, and certainly looking for more factionalism, because there were more than 70 parties contesting this election. So it wasn't certainly an easy affair.
But Jessica, you've told us about the permutations and combinations now, even if they come in coalition, talking about the ANC. Opposition parties are against Cyril Ramaphosa. What do you think went against the ANC, who has been ruling for 30 years?
Well, corruption and internal factionalism, not being able to manage the country's economy, high inflation, unemployment, promises and guarantees that were never fulfilled, with the kind of triumphant victory that the ANC saw, which gave South Africa its first ever black president, Nelson Mandela, after the great struggle to end apartheid. All of that hasn't really benefited. And if you look at the other parties as well, the kind of policies that they are driving will certainly cater to more interest. Now, if you look at the MK party, which is led by Jacob Zuma, as I pointed out, which is formed just in September, one of their policies is to nationalize the coal mines, and that is certainly not acceptable with the private sector. What the DA wants to do, or the Democratic Alliance, which has received the second largest vote share, it wants to ensure that the private sector thrives and the economy is flourishing as part of its election manifesto and its promises to the people. So certainly priorities take center stage. But since none of the parties had the majority in the National Assembly, 400 is the number, 201 is the magic number, and none of them seem to have it. If you look at the breakup as well, there are 9 provinces in South Africa. Before the election, the African National Congress controlled 7 of them. And now they've lost control of nearly 3 more and left with just 5. So, of course, there is a lot that the other parties would scramble onto in terms of what they can offer to the South Africans. And remember, there are a lot of minority parties with whom the deals will be struck. So things not looking good for the ANC. Then they're not looking good for the ANC. Now, losing this massive vote share doesn't go down well in history for them.
Absolutely. Things not looking good for the ANC. All right, Jessica, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Mexicans head to the polls on Sunday in a historic presidential election in which 2 main candidates are women, ushering in a new political era for Latin America's second largest economy. Mexico's next president will inherit a country with lagging economic growth and an elevated rate of violent crime, especially related to drug trafficking at the hands of country's powerful cartels. Mexico is also in the midst of an unprecedented water crisis and also ongoing tensions with the US over a decade-old water-sharing treaty. Residents in the southern German states of Bavaria and Baden Württemberg have been urged to exercise extreme caution Saturday as dramatic evacuations take place across the region. So far, states of emergency have been declared in several districts, and the German Weather Service has issued severe weather warnings in more than 10 districts, with forecasts for more heavy rain over the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, China landed an uncrewed spacecraft on the far side of the moon on Sunday, a mission which aims to retrieve rocks and soil from the lunar surface. The landing elevates China's space power status in a global rush to the moon, where countries including the United States are hoping to exploit lunar materials to sustain long-term astronaut missions and moon bases. The Chang'e-6 mission is the first human sampling and return mission from the far side of the moon. It involves many engineering innovations, high risk and great difficulty. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Mount Ibu in Indonesia's Halmahera erupted again, spewing an ash cloud 5 kilometers high. The National Disaster Mitigation Agency issued a warning about potential eruptions, floods and cold lahar flows. As a result, Mount Ibu has been at the highest alert level since May 16th. The latest activity follows a series of other volcanic eruptions in the country, which is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire and has 127 active volcanoes. A second attempt at the launching Boeing's New Starliner space capsule on its inaugural test flight with NASA astronauts on board was automatically halted minutes before liftoff by a computer abort system on Saturday. The next available launch window for the mission is on Sunday. And 66 U.S. veterans arrived and were cheered for by fellow Americans in Paris on Saturday ahead of D-Day anniversary celebrations. France's President Emmanuel Macron will be joined by the leaders of the U.S., Britain, Canada, Germany and other countries in marking the 80th anniversary of the Normandy landings on June 6th. All right, we'll slip it away. Short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching News on the Hour.
Shagato to West Bengal, India's cultural epicenter. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Sports updates now. We'll start with football. Real Madrid were crowned kings of Europe for a record-extending 15th time with a 2-0 victory over Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League final on Saturday. Defender Carvajal headed in from Toni Kroos' corner on 34 minutes before Vinicius fired home, extending Madrid's record as the most successful club in the competition's history. All right, DD India's Narayan Singh is joining us live to talk more on this. Good morning, Narayan. Record-extending 15th Champions League title for Real Madrid. What a fitting farewell for Toni Kroos, and also with this win, Carlo Ancelotti became the first manager to win the European Cup 5 times and thrice with Real Madrid, 14, 22 and 24.
Good morning, Abhishek. A fantastic win by Real Madrid here. the way they played, the way they have just controlled the match, and also they have the, we can say, grip over the Champions League trophy. In the last 10 years, if you take a look, for it started from the 2014, they have won 6 Champions League trophy and 3 consecutive to Champions League trophy under Zinedine Zidane, and now under Carlo Ancelotti they created history, won the 15 Champions League trophy. If you take a look, the number of titles they win, they have 15, and the team who is at the second place is AC Milan with 7 titles. So a difference is clearly visible, the kind of football Real Madrid plays, especially in the Champions League, and they are the specialist of this league, the most toughest league of the European football and the club football. So all in all, a fantastic football here by the Real Madrid. As you mentioned about Toni Kroos, he won the 6th Champions League with Real Madrid. It all started in 2014 when he joined Real Madrid after winning the World Cup for the Germany, and after that he was the core member of the Real Madrid side and is one of the finest midfielder of his generation. And we can say that a fantastic and we can say that towards the end of his career, because after Euro, when he will play for his country, the Germany, he will retire. So we can say that a fairy tale ending for the Toni Kroos also at the club level.
But Narayan, Borussia Dortmund, they made a strong start to the game but couldn't find the target. You think they were a little unlucky? What do you think went wrong for them?
Definitely we can say that the number of missed chances in the first half, they costed them, because if you take a look the way Karim Adeyemi and Niklas Füllkrug, they have 2 fantastic shots on the goal, and the ball just bounced back after hitting the post. So we can say that they were unlucky, but we know that the Real Madrid, when it comes to the Champions League and throughout this season also, in the past season also, they make the, we can say that comebacks after comebacks and the late goals after the late goals, the way they played in the quarterfinals of this season in the Champions League against Man City, where they scored the late goals also, and the match went into the we can say that in the way the match went in the shootout, and where they prevailed, and especially in the semi-finals against the Bayern Munich, it was looking like that they will stumble, but they bounced back with the late goals. And what a team, especially in the Champions League. And if you talk about the Borussia Dortmund, they played extremely well, but we know when it comes to the Champions League, they are the most ruthless machine of this tournament, and they too have the manager like Carlo Ancelotti, who has won this is his 5th title as the manager, and he also won 2 titles as a player. So all in all, the Midas touch of their coach, we can say that also worked for them. And after COVID, the Real Madrid was in a state of transition. After the Ronaldo left, after the Gareth Bale, Karim Benzema all left, it was looking like that the empire of the Real Madrid would fall down. But they hired a we can say the astute coach like Carlo Ancelotti, and they brought the new generation of the Galacticos, like we can say that the way Bellingham played, he also won the La Liga player of the season, and also the players like Vinicius Junior, they are working great for them. And when if we believe the reports, when Mbappe will join after the end of this season, definitely if he joins Real Madrid, according to reports, then Real Madrid will become one of the most potent side of the European football.
Absolutely, Narayan. Stay with us. We'll discuss on cricket also. Just one question on cricket. The US defeated Canada by 7 wickets in the opening match of ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup 2024 on Sunday at the Grand Prairie Stadium. After being asked for bat, Canada batted brilliantly to post 194 for 5. However, Aaron Jones' blistering knock combined with Andres Go's timely half-century made sure United States got their first win of the tournament. Meanwhile, West Indies will face Papua New Guinea later in the day. Narayan, what a great start to the World Cup. First match was between US and Canada. US winning there comprehensively by 7 wickets. But yes, 2 tests for India on 5th June against Ireland.
Definitely a fantastic start. The host US winning their opening match, and before that also they defeated Bangladesh. So we can say that they have worked well, and they have, we can say, practiced well, and they are just coming into this tournament with a great, we can say that practice and all the hard work they have done. They are getting result for that, and especially when India will play their match against Ireland, definitely it will, the main World Cup will start for the Indian fans. After that only, we know that, but we know that India after 2013 has not won a major ICC tournament. So we are hoping that this time our team will, we can say, all the mistakes they have done in the past, especially in the knockout stages, they will, we can say that, not repeat those mistakes and rectify the things here. In the last time in the ODI World Cup last year, we saw that India played impeccable cricket till the final, and they were unbeaten till the final, where they lost the final to the Australia. But this time we are hoping that they will not repeat those mistakes, and the pressure of the knockout stage, definitely India will try to just make it off.
Absolutely, Narayan, and big ticket clash on June 9th between India and Pakistan. All right, Narayan, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.